So here we are, crypto inspector with Americana, and we're gonna talk about crypto. Let's talk crypto, and let's introduce ourselves. So tell me about yourself, my man.
Well, I am Americana. Recently got on social media within the last 6 months or so. So if you guys have seen me, thanks for the support. But I guess my story, kind of who I am from the get go, where the experience comes from, and things like that. I started trading when I was probably 13 or 14 years
Wow.
old, and like learning about it, trading wasn't profitable. Clearly, obviously, right? um, and then just interested in it, right? Learning, what candles are, the basic stuff, bull flags, um, limit orders, stuff about options, just learning about the market in general.
You
So
you
that kind of always, sorry, go ahead.
you really started when you were 13 years old trading. This is cool, man. This is awesome. Okay, yeah, tell us. And then how did it progress?
From there, I would say probably about 14 or 15. Well, that's when I started learning about trading, right? 13 or 14. So 14 or 15, I had like got some money to like actually trade and things like that. Um, Ended up blowing it, losing all of it, right? But I was kind of hooked on the idea of like it made sense to me. Um, in that time too, I was also reselling shoes and things like that, clothes. So I was always interested in kind of not necessarily internet money, but like in a way entrepreneurship, or there has to be some sort of like how can I make some extra money, what else can I do, right, kind of thing. Obviously all I had access to was internet and YouTube, so in that, you find how to make money online, this, that, and
Yeah.
all roads kind of lead to Bitcoin in a way, right, or crypto.
Yeah,
um,
100%,
in
100%.
that kind of sense, right? Even if it's not something like explicitly mentioned by somebody, these are people who were entrepreneurial, or innovators or forward thinking or stuff like that at that time. We're talking about it like on YouTube and on platforms and things like that, because this is
Yeah.
2014, 15, 16. So I finally I got in, right. I continued trying to trade and things like that, um, but I was like setting some money aside for Bitcoin. Ended up getting in, making some okay money. I think I got in. This would have been like later 2016 and into Bitcoin. So it was pretty late cycle though. Like I didn't ride up like the 20,000% run or whatever it was, right?
So
Um,
when was it roughly? Like which year you got your first crypto, let's say?
I believe it's gonna have to be 2017.
Wow, man, there's a reason why we're meeting. I'll tell you long story short also about myself. So I also started 2017 actually.
Mhm.
I had also some difficulties in life, so I was always into entrepreneurship, and at that time, I spent like 1 2 years literally learning about what is crypto. My brother, right? He told me about this. He's the founder of Black Hat Ethical Hacking, and
Oh,
yeah, he's into IT all his life.
that's
And
cool.
I got into it, and I was like, "What is this crypto thing?" And then I started to read about Bitcoin, and I saw Doge, and I downloaded the blockchains back then on my laptop. Man, I was downloading the whole blockchain because this is the
Mhm.
proper way to do it, and
Yeah.
get your private crypto wallet. And I even went into mining and programming mining, how to mine, and I used to use my electricity, to mine Doge and different cryptos. It was really awesome. And but I wanted to ask you, so were you in short trading, or how do you trade? Do you still trade short trading, or also you're into long term?
So right now, what I found, right? So in 2017, made a little bit of money, took a little bit of profits. Mind you, I'm still 15, 16, so it's maybe no more than 2,500 bucks I had invested in this, right? And made a little bit of money, was still trading, ended up I know you remember BitConnect, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm 15, so you can't blame me. I'm 15, right? So I lost some money in BitConnect. Um, what else? It ended up, yeah, not taking full profit at the top, right? But I was again, I was hooked, right? And so that really, once that cycle kind of went into the bear market, and I saw that, oh, these things cool off, and like, I got in late cycle, and I was bag holding this or that. Um, and just kind of with the skills that I had from trading, like kind of some basic skills of like support, resistance, things like that. I just started just diving into how this stuff works. By then too, we had Ethereum, we had Litecoin, we had Doge, like you mentioned. So there's an altcoin dynamic, which was super interesting. I did not get into that at the time in 2017, but that was, I was like, holy crap, this dude just made 40,000% on Ethereum. Like I
Yeah.
need to learn, I need to learn what that is about, right? And so that's when I started diving in. Um, that's when I kind of started developing the strategy too, right? I
So
knew I
so
wanted
you
to do
read
it long term.
you read fundamentals also and technical analysis, and you open trade leverage trades, right?
So I don't. I right now I don't. Right now I don't.
Okay, that's
No,
interesting.
yeah, everything I do is actually cycle based, not necessarily like 4-year cycle per se, but the fact that they have these rotations into altcoins.
Yeah.
Um, so that was like something that I noticed and that I saw too as well as like, XRP went on its final push into a 702 retracement on Bitcoin in 2017.
Hmm.
Same with Ethereum, Litecoin, Dogecoin, everything, right? And so I kind of see this rotation play out in hindsight, not in person. I somewhat maybe would have seen it in person, um, but I knew I wanted to play that again, right? I wanted to play that game again. And at the time too, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of it I got lucky, right? I had
Yeah.
the skills to be able to see things for what they were and analyze, and I had knowledge of kind of how markets work in general and economics and all these things. I went to school for economics and
Cool.
finance, so I have some help with that too. So I have a good fun like foundation, but I ultimately got lucky because I didn't know it at the time, right? Everybody now is like, if you're going to play a cycle, if you're going to invest in crypto long term, you need to be Bitcoin heavy, like 75, 80% Bitcoin, because that's going to soak up a majority of the dominance and the liquidity very
Yeah.
early in the cycle. Anytime you see a true alt season, and when I say alt season, I mean like total two breaking out, market breadth opening up, everything above like 200-day EMAs just ripping, right? If you've been in crypto long enough, you know what that feels like, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
pumps we had in January, December, November of 24, and like March of 23, and people calling this alt season, that's not anything, right? So long-winded there, but I got lucky kind of being into Bitcoin heavy first. And then once you've seen these, I also had 3 to 4 years to continue learning,
Yeah.
right? So the point that when that rotational aspect came back into play, I was prepared, right? 6 years of crypto, or 5.5 years of crypto at the time, and 4 years of just watching the cycle and learning everything I could, or three and a half years. Um, so I was prepared, right? So basically what I do, and I kind of that's all I'm going to say about when and how the rotation takes place, because that it's very simple, but it's kind of the secret sauce, right? And so what I was able to do is essentially ride up Bitcoin for a majority of its cycle. I think it was like, if Bitcoin, from my entry specifically, not entire last cycle, or my average with dollar cost averaging was 6,500 or something like that. So to the peak, we'll just call it 1,000%, right? A 10x to like
Yeah. Yeah.
65,000. I sold Bitcoin early. I sold at 42, 45, something like that. But in with Bitcoin going on its final 30% pump, 40% pump in the cycle, Doge did 1,500%.
Yeah.
Other coins that I rotated into did 1,500%. And, you know, I think I'm doing things differently this cycle. Again, I got lucky with how I did this part of it too. I just simply rotated into the top 10 altcoins at that point in time, right? Similar to like probably one of the last cycles, you can do that safely.
Okay.
2017, there only was like 10 to 15. Last cycle, the top 10 to 15 was still going to pump enough to like get you that type of return. But what ultimately happened is I'm sitting on 600% Bitcoin profits and 600% altcoin rotation profits.
Very nice.
So so
Look,
my cycle, like,
you didn't got
sorry, go ahead.
lucky. You didn't got lucky because we believe in crypto, right? We believe that it's the future, and we believe so much that we actually invest so much of our capital in it blindly, like.
Mhm.
So I get that. I get that. And from what I understand, so you don't do leverage trading or day trading. You do long term, but you and you convert them and you exchange. You read fundamental technicals and then
Mhm.
you do to stable coin or something. Is that correct? This is what I understood, right?
Yep, yep, yep.
Good.
And so last cycle doing the like with obviously how compounding works, it was like 36, 38x for the cycle.
Mm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's just on Bitcoin and blue chips. That's not meme coins. That's not low caps. That's not even mid caps. Top 10
Okay.
altcoins and Bitcoin only.
So
Um, yeah.
in my case, I'll tell you a bit about myself. So yeah, today I'm gonna talk about the crypto inspector side of it. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm crypto inspector. I'm a crypto YouTuber, and I do crypto for beginners. In 2017, I started my first episode, which was a vision. Right? It's the first one on my YouTube, and I literally, because I believe I have some visions, like I can see visions and stuff. And I wrote the
Mhm.
future then about crypto. So I was like recording and typing. And I've seen that crypto will be the new currency as we see it now and adapting in the banks and becoming regulated and all that. And I started like educating people for free because many do this for money and all that. But no, I want to do it for free because this is what people need to learn and they need to adapt to it. And like
Mhm.
I said, I started to get my cryptos in small amounts, and I always believed in it long term since then. Now, had I if I had a good capital, now I'd be a millionaire, like many
Mhm.
are actually because of that. But I started small, and that's how I advise, you know, the beginners like to get into it. So I am in profit still since then. I'm a long termer, and when it goes bear, I mean, when you're long termer, which you are also a bit from what I understand, when
Mhm.
it's market crash, when it's bear market and all that, for us, it's like it's time to buy because when it's red, it still needs like years of red for us to feel the loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a completely different mentality than a day trader or a leverage trader, where when it's red, he's gonna have to short it, and if he didn't do his buy sell, he's fucked. Like you've seen the Ukrainian influencer who died recently. I mean, he lost
Mhm.
millions, and his fans lost millions, and he just shot himself in the end of the day. So
Yeah.
I don't advise that. I mean, I respect people who do this, but I'm not this kind of. And I still see it from people, nowadays, like they're day traders and they tell me they lost. And I'm like, that's fine. It's a
Mhm.
completely different cycle. So I still do and I will always do my crypto education. And I want the world to learn how it is. It's the new currency and all that. So
Mhm.